'tis the season for hot chocolate and bourbon. Pour yourself a glass and sit back and relax while I talk about my favorite Christmas movies of all time. Hello, and if this is your first time here, I'm talking about my favorite Christmas movies of all time. Today I'm talking about The Polar Express. And to add a little twist to this, I'm actually making cocktails themed towards the movies I discuss. Today I'm talking about The Polar Express, so I made a hot chocolate bourbon. I have the recipe video in a previous video I made, and I'll actually link to it in the description below so you can check that out and make it yourself. First off, this is delicious. I wasn't expecting it to be that good, and whenever I thought about bourbon being hot, it was a little weird to me, and I wasn't sure how it was going to be, but I was pleasantly surprised, and I'd say you should give it a try too. As far as the movie, this movie came out in 2004. I was just a young kid, and I was excited for it. You know, I had read the book whenever I was younger in grade school, and it was a good book. But you know, I wondered, like, how are they going to make this into a long movie? Even as a little kid, I thought that. This is a tiny book, and I'll say right now, if you haven't checked it out, I'll link to that down below so you can buy it, because it's a great children's book, whether for yourself or for one of your kids. But the movie, it was directed by Robert Zemeckis, and some of you may know him from the Back to the Future films. That's where I know him the best. He also directed Forrest Gump, and that's probably how he kind of met and got in contact with Tom Hanks. Now, Tom Hanks is also in this movie. He stars as a lot of characters, actually. Mainly he's the conductor, and you can tell right away whenever you see him who he is, because the CGI in this movie is pretty great for 2004. You know, I really didn't know who Tom Hanks was in 2004 because I was a kid. You know, I didn't watch Forrest Gump or any of his other older movies, but everybody that I talked to, I always remember them discussing how this looked exactly like Tom Hanks. And so another little known fact is that he's actually the voice of the hero boy in this story, which is kind of cool. So if you don't know what the story is, there's a boy who, it's around Christmas time, and he's around 13. He's not really sure if he believes in Santa Claus anymore. As a lot of kids that age do, they start to doubt, is Santa Claus real? And he goes on the train, the Polar Express, and ends up going to the North Pole. He meets a lot of friends, sings a couple songs, and ends up meeting Santa Claus and the elves. It's a really touching movie, and it's a great holiday film. I think that this movie stands the test of time. You know, it's 14 years old at this point, and the animation is still spot on. There's a lot of movies you go back to, holiday films in particular. Let's look at How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Obviously that's 1966, but this movie, the animation, stands up to the test of time, and I think that's really nice. I think the story is great too. Some of my favorite scenes from this movie are the hot chocolate scene, which is obviously why I made this hot chocolate bourbon. And the singing and dancing with Tom Hanks and all the workers on the train and the little kids who just are so excited about hot chocolate, as you are as little kids. The other scenes I like are whenever the boy is climbing on top of the train with the homeless man, and they're going up and down the mountain, and he's skiing, and that's I always love that moment. And then the caribou, whenever the caribou are in the middle of the tracks, and the only way to get them to move is when the conductor starts yelling because his beard's being pulled. Whenever the kids get to the North Pole and they meet Santa Claus, that's a lot of fun too, because the boy and the rest of the kids that are doubting if Santa Claus is real. How did the presents get under the tree? They see that Santa is real. And so one of the boys' wishes is to have this bell. And every time you ring it, somebody that hears it, they believe in Santa Claus. But as you find out, as a lot of people become older, the parents, they can't hear the bell anymore because they don't believe. And it's just a really heartwarming movie with the boy who still he loves Christmas, and nobody can take that away from him, and you know, this epic journey that he goes on. The other thing that I really love about this movie is the music. The da, 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 da. You know what I'm talking about. And every time I hear this music, it's crazy because I always think that it's the same exact theme from Elf. And listen to the two side by side and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. They're not the same theme, but they sound strangely similar. And Elf came out just around the same time. So I really do think this movie holds up the test of time, and it's one of my favorite Christmas movies ever. If you guys like this video and you like hearing about my other favorites, make sure you stay tuned, because every Thursday before Christmas, I'm going to be talking about my favorite Christmas movies of all time. I'm also going to be making a lot of these cocktails so you can make them yourselves as well. I'd like to know what some of your favorite Christmas movies are. Make sure you comment down below and share this video with anybody who you think would enjoy it. Thanks for watching, and Merry Christmas.